people actually in fact think that I am dead. Knowledge. Capital LOL. Nope. Not me. I'm just playing possum. Playing possum. And believe you me, God and his son Jesus Christ within this heart and this mind, they're going to reach a point and they're going to make their presence known, and their voice alone is going to penetrate the Earth's electronic magnetic field up to the point where the whole dome piece vibrates violently, tearing this whole diseased, corrupt temple down upon the very heads of all dark rulers and dark forces upon the face of the earth. Once, might I add, beautifully created within God's image. It is happening. So to those of you that are still seeking, I don't know how long we have left until Jesus Christ makes his second coming known unto his elect, unto his chosen. But one thing is for certain, I want each and every one of you out there currently seeking to know one thing. You better, and I mean you better be ready for when he comes and he takes his chosen, his elect, off the face of the earth, whether it be through physical death or spiritually. In other words, people can still die. Physically, that is. Only to have the breath of life breathed into their very souls, thus actually in fact awakening the very soul of man and woman. In other words, out with the old, in with the new. Death to one's worldly programmed self via crucifixion. Life again, made anew within God's image via the Holy Spirit. So if you're born again and you're still trapped within this childlike mentality, there is some good news for you. There is still time for each and every one of you to grow and evolve and develop your relationships with God through his Son, Jesus Christ, via the Holy Spirit. To the sinners out there that are 100% adamant that you can still live within sin and be under God's grace, you're in for one rude awakening, along with a roller coaster ride of many highs, many lows, many dips, many twists, many turns, many bumps, many grinds, many waves of worldly programmed emotion of all kinds, as well as biblical emotions of all kinds, i.e. patience, gratitude, unconditional love, forgiveness, grace, mercy, joy, happiness, if I've not already said those. And believe you me, every single emotion, whether it be of this world or of the Bible, they are going to clash and lock horns with one another, up to the point where you are gaining control over your own mind and your own heart, thus actually in fact building emotional maturity and emotional intelligence. And to you women that are still programmed out there, trapped and enslaved within your own feelings and emotions, you too still have the chance to redeem your relationships with God via the blood of Christ. One of the many reasons, unlike the world, as to why I don't go on emotion and feelings is because they are masters of deception. They are used to manipulate, pervert, water down, and even play other beings. And then people bitch, moan, cry and complain as to, one, why they've got no friendships, two, why they've got no relationship / marriage, because they are living within their pride and their ego, and they are not willing to sacrifice their pride and ego because they are adamant that their life and their free will is theirs and theirs alone, when little did they know our free will is under the will of God. And just like I said, every choice, every decision that we make in life is either a blessing / reward or a consequence / punishment. And thankfully, I wouldn't be half the man that I am today if I didn't experience both rewards, blessings, consequences, punishments. So, people, I can't stress this enough. You need to reconcile your relationships with God through His Son, Jesus Christ, by the Holy Spirit, while you still have the chance. Because there is a second coming of Jesus Christ. He is coming for His church. And we don't have access to that particular time, or even date, for that matter. Therefore, it is extremely important to expose all sin, all evil, and enforce the will of God, putting back God's patriarchy within our societal structures, thus actually in fact not only resulting to a global reset, but a restore in balance between biblical emotions via the Holy Spirit and worldly programmed emotions, which are currently, like I said, conflicting within people. I see people that experience waves of joy from time to time, waves of happiness, myself included. I'm not always, this, I'm gonna tear your heads clean off, you degenerative assholes type of guy. Well, because I do have good days like everybody else. Even when I'm serious, I'm still having a good day, a lot of the time. And then, these people, these particular said people that experienced waves of joy, waves of happiness, one day they could experience a trigger. And that trigger would have caused, I don't know, let's say anxiety, paranoia, stress, depression, anxiety, fear, sleep deprivation, agoraphobia, and all other fears of the world. And then they can go back to experiencing waves of biblical fruits, biblical meats, biblical milks and honeys, and all of the other good stuff. Gems, rubies, jade stones, and all of these other things. So the point I'm trying to make, people, is you really and truly better start reconciling your relationships with God while you still have the chance. Because there is a spiritual warfare, and some of us chosen happen to be dying. We're at peace with it. We're embracing it. It's inevitable. It's going to happen to us, whether it be through physical departure in our sleep, natural causes, or like I said, whether it be spiritual. We are all dying. The question is, are you ready and are you prepared for the second coming of Jesus Christ? If not, you really and truly need to pull your finger from up your hole and sort your life out now while you still have the chance. Otherwise, on Judgment Day, if you happen to see me amongst the rest of God's saints, 1, we're going to be quiet. 2, we're going to be shaking our heads, thinking to ourselves, we tried warning you. We tried warning you. We tried warning you within peace, gratitude, happiness, joy, patience, and all of these other things, just as much as we did with God's wrath. And if we tried warning you, and yet you still, to this day, were adamant in your own ways and chose to reject God's servants, you have then got to answer unto God the Father on Judgment Day, with Jesus Christ sat upon the right hand side of the Father. And if your lives didn't weigh out in comparison to the Son, i.e. Jesus Christ, and you didn't do enough in comparison to what Jesus did, and if you genuinely rejected both God the Father and his Son, Jesus Christ, if you think your lives are hell on earth now, you really and truly have no idea what is yet waiting for you. Brackets, via afterlife. And trust me, you really and truly do not want to be going there. I can't stress it enough. You really and truly do not want to go there. Take it from this guy. You do not, and I mean do not, want to go there. So my advice would be to pick up a copy of the King James Bible, study it as though your souls depend on it, because they really do, and enforce it within your life for unlimited protection under the Holy Spirit. And it's the only way people are going to break free from this satanic matrix, keeping people trapped and enslaved within spiritual bondage, thus actually in fact resulting to stolen biblical fruits, biblical meats, biblical milks, biblical honey, biblical precious stones, jade, diamond, argite, if that's a stone, rose quartz, emerald, and anything else I could possibly think of. This isn't even, remotely funny, nor is it to be, taken slightly, people. If you really and truly want to be saved, One, you wouldn't be attempting to blow out other people's candle that are living within all of Jesus Christ's ways. And one, you wouldn't even be trying to project in order to attempt and hijack the minds and the hearts of God's chosen in the attempt to try and control them and manipulate them. I can't stress this enough. There is a spiritual warfare between good and evil, and people are going to learn this either the good way or the ugly way when it involves Judgment Day, after physically departing this world. Just like all material possessions, finances, houses, cars, our vessel, our temple is going to fail us. And our soul is going to be lifted up and raised amongst the clouds before the gates of the New Jerusalem. The gates that are heavily guarded by God's angels. Only then depending on the life that you chose to live, whether it be enforcing the will of God, obeying even the Holy Spirit's presence, obeying the 10 Commandments, judgments and statutes. And if your name made the book of life, you will enter those gates and you will become a part of the New Jerusalem. But in order to become a part of the New Jerusalem, a sacrifice has to be made. It's going to hurt many prides and egos out there, but those that have accepted it and embraced it already, not so much. And that sacrifice being, you are going to have to die to this world. Embrace the pain and suffering in order to enjoy the rewards later on the second coming of Jesus Christ. Otherwise, if you're going to continue to reject God and reject the Son of Man, you're not going to be able to accept as well as embrace the pain and suffering as part of the journey. And it's only going to get worse, it's only going to crush and defeat those involved all the more. You have free will at the end of the day, people. And believe you and me, you cannot and will not use your free will in the attempt to block me from using mine. I am going to use mine whether people like it or not. And let that be a life lesson before anyone chooses to continue doing the devil's bidding after being warned with the second coming of Jesus Christ. God is extremely wrath with the wicked every day. From the moment they wake up to the moment they choose to go to bed at night. He is wrath with the wicked. He isn't this goody-goody, two-shoes, sissy-fied, lovey-dovey, pally-pally type of fatherly figure. No. You're in for one rude awakening if you continue to cross his path. And to those that have already sought after Christ and have a relationship with him, congratulations. Blessed are those that haven't yet seen but still believe. Blessed are the peacemakers and the meek in heart, for they will inherit the earth. And to you sinners that are still sitting on the fence with the idea of dying to the world, in regards to accepting Christ and welcoming Him within your heart and your mind, you still have time. But the longer you leave it, you're really and truly going to regret it later on. When your time is up. Believe you and me. And I did try warning every single one of you watching this video. Despite what your journey, your spiritual journey even, may be under the blood of Christ. I'm going to let those of you watching this video reflect on it. And to take what I've said and plant the information in here and in here, along with the biblical manuscripts that I've also shared. Be vigilant, stay assertive, and be prepared, like I said, for the second coming of Jesus Christ, because He is going to come down from heaven, and He is going to grab His church, spotless, non-wrinkled, with a scrubbed clean conscience, transformation of the heart. He is coming through His church. And there you have it, folks. The choice is yours. I can only plant the seed of the truth. It's entirely up to you what you do with it. You could either reject it and laugh it off still, make a mockery of it. But like I said, the longer you leave it, the more it's going to end up difficult for you on Judgment Day. Or you could choose to at least acknowledge, as well as reflect on what I've just said in this video. And then thank me after Judgment Day, if you happen to make the book of life.